When looking at a company to invest in, we need to have an understanding of the information that they put out in the financial statements. Welcome back, guys. What's up? I'm Jamie. If you're new, please subscribe, turn on your post notifications so that way every time I drop a new video, you'll be notified. Also, you can connect with me on social media. I'm on Instagram at JARadcliffe or Twitter at JARadcliffe2030. The financial statements of different companies, to be honest, sometimes it can look kind of confusing, but in essence, all of it is actually the same information. Today I'm going to be looking at the statement of comprehensive income, otherwise called the income statement, and for those old school accountants, the profit and loss statement. Now, if you're somebody who know about them things already or you want to know about these, just go ahead and hit that thumbs up while you're at it, cool? So first off, I'll give you a little background into what the income statement is. Now, you might hear me call income statement P&L. Well, I don't think I'm going to call the statement a comprehensive income. I'm going to use the easier names. But just know, talking about the same thing. The P&L pretty much shows you how a company has performed over a past period. Normally the income statement is done on a yearly basis, but sometimes it can be for more than a year or less than a year, depending on what is going on with the company. Normally the reason why it would vary from a year is because the company might have changed their accounting year end. If it is that the company used to put out financial statements, let's say June, and now they decide to do it at December, they can do one of two things. They can do the income statement up to December before the June end, which would be about a 6-month period, or December after the June end, which in a sense would cause them to have an 18-month reporting period. But even if them do it for 6 months, 1 year, or 18 months, it don't really matter. Them still have to incorporate the same information on all of these profit and loss statements. And information starting from, let's say, January would be 0 at that January and then go up to whatever figure at the end of the period. An income statement is basically broken down into 3 main parts. We have the revenue, the costs, and the expenses. Now, the revenue talks about the money that the company is making, whether it is that they have already collected this money, if the money out on credit, but once it is that they have made a sale and they are using the accrual concept for accounting, then all of that is recorded as a revenue, even though they not collect the actual money yet. Costs, on the other hand, is what them use to make the revenue. So if you're in a manufacturing company, everything that is directly attributable to making your product, that is the cost that you will pick up on your income statement. So if you're making, let's say, sodas, we all know that if you're going to make soda, you have to buy the bottles, right? So the cost to purchase the bottle or anything else that goes into directly making the soda is picked up as a cost to your company. Now, last but not least, we have the expenses. While the expenses might actually affect your soda production in a sense, sometimes you can't really directly say, alright, this is what it costs me to make 1 bottle of soda, and this is the amount of expense that goes into making 1 bottle of soda. Reason being, the expenses are the costs that the company is going to face that are not directly attributable to the manufacturing process, such as your employee costs, probably be your marketing, and so on. So in essence, this is where you know if you made a profit or if you made a loss at the end of the year. Now, after you pay your taxes and everything, your income statement say, alright, you made some money last year, so you still have some profits on the books. This is where the company will decide if it is that it wants to pay out money to the shareholders, or it shows you the amount of money that the company is able to pay out to shareholders for this past year. Now remember still, no company now go pay out all of the money where they make to shareholders for any given year, because you have to look on what going to happen this current year. It don't make no sense, right? Because you still have to pay the people and all of that, right? Now, you see, even though I actually tell you what the P&L is and the main parts of the P&L, I actually show you 2 P&L from 2 different companies that pretty much are really different but similar at the end of the day. First off, we have Indus Pharma. So right here we have the income statement for Indus Pharma. Now, at first glance, people, you can see that the income statement here is very, very simple. See? It's 1 page, very simple. Unlike the one for Sagicor that has, wow, that's a lot of information.
Now, when you're looking at the income statement, there are certain things that you expect to see, such as your revenue, your cost of sale, your gross profit, your other income, your expenses, as well as your profit. These will be on every income statement, no matter the company. So everybody have to show them pretty much. Now, while the income statement for Indies is very simple, and as I said, the one for Sagicor is pretty much more complex. We can notice here, right here, we have revenue. Sagicor shows that this is their revenue section, and they're showing all the different items that come to make up their revenue. Now here we have their expenses and everything that shows their expenses. They even have the administrative expense right here. So at the end of the day, people, is the same thing. When you're looking at a company's income statement, though, you need to pretty much look at different periods. So for example here, where it says January 31 and October 31, you need to look at these in the same time frame. Because 3 months ended January 31, it's just 3 months worth of income, where Indies made 223 million as opposed to the whole of last year where Indies made 765 million. How much did Indies make for the last quarter that ended in October? That is what we need to know if we're going to analyze this particular income statement properly. Now, the next thing that we normally look at for income statements, it might not always be present in the quarterly, but when you look at a year-end or an audited financials, you would normally get the notes to the financial statements. Now here we have the income statement for Indies Pharma again, and if you look, the first thing that we see here for revenue, if you go to note 6, they're going to tell you how it is that they made revenue of 765 million last year. So let's just jump to note 6 real quick. So right here on note 6, Indies is saying that they made all of their revenue from the sale and distribution of pharmaceutical products. Now, nothing really complex about that because we all know say Indies sell pharmaceutical items. So they're just saying that all of the income that they generated last year is from this. Cool? But this doesn't always hold for every line item. If we come down here to note 7 where it says other operating income, it says for 2020 other operating income was 1.8 million. This 1.8 million is made up of 4 different line items, and on the income statement we're just going to see 1.8 million. So if you want to see the breakdown of how it is that these figures were arrived at, then you need to come to the notes. One that would need to look at, and if I was looking at these financial statements, I would have to see the notes, is Sagicor. Sagicor one, very complex. It's a very complex income statement with a lot of line items, and it is telling that how it arrives at a lot of different things. So if you're going to look at this particular income statement, you would need to pretty much check out all of these notes to have a very good understanding of how all of these revenue and benefits were computed or what makes them up. And a very interesting point, people. You notice when I started the video, I told you that the income statement that goes by a variety of different names, because there are income statement, statement of comprehensive income, and as well as the state profit and loss, right? If we look at this one for Sagicor, Sagicor calls it the consolidated statement of comprehensive income. This is their year end for December. Indies Pharma calls it consolidated statement of profit or loss. In September, Sagicor called it their consolidated income statement, and Indies call it this consolidated statement of comprehensive income. So you can see, even though these are only 2 companies, we basically went through all the names for the income statement in just a couple of quarters, between the quarter and the year end. So this was just a quick look at the income statement, guys, and how they might differ between companies. But don't be overwhelmed. It's all the same at the end of the day.
Thanks for watching, guys. Now, as you can see from those 2 income statements that I just showed you for Sagicor and Indies Pharma, the income statement can be very complex as well as it can be very simple. But all in all, it always have the same information. Now, if you like the video, you can just go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribing, alright? And remember, before you do anything with the money, talk to your financial advisor, cool? And until next week, people. Bye-bye.